Hey everybody, Ott Defo here, professional angler, and you know, as a professional angler, you're used to seeing a lot out of us during the tournament season. That mostly spans from, you know, usually February, maybe March, throughout the summer, at least up until June. Sometimes we have a kind of a little mid-year break in there, but then resuming and some tournaments in August and September before we wrap our season up. We'll have sometimes a few special events in the fall, but it's usually one or no more than two that we have, you know, kind of in that October, November time frame. So we've got a fair amount of off time during the rest of that year to enjoy some other hobbies and other things that we've got going on. Some of that time definitely gets filled up with sponsor obligations, whether that's appearances or shows or filming obligations, whatever that may be. But we always seem to find a little bit of time as pros to have some fun and do some things that a lot of us enjoy during that time of the year. So, you know, once my last tournament's over with, somewhere in that September time frame, at least when I'll be using my boat, I'll pull it in here, park it in the garage, and truthfully, I don't use it a whole lot from that point forward. I've got another boat sitting over there that's a tracker aluminum boat with a jet drive Mercury on it, and that's my fun fishing boat, man. That's the boat that I'm gonna, when I come home, I park the nitro, I'm gonna hop in that tracker with the jet drive on it, and I'm gonna go fish some rivers. I'm gonna get away from the crowds, get away from the people, and get around the fish. That's what I'm gonna do in that thing. That's just it's a lot of fun, man. Part adventure, part catching fish, just really makes for an excellent time.
For me, the fall and off season are a couple things. One, you know, getting rid of the old boat. You know, I have this boat sold. I peel the wrap, I clean it up, get it ready for the buyer, and then, you know, go into that transition of getting the new boat and breaking in the Mercury engine, you know, at the start of the season. But typically that happens a little bit later in the year, you know, so there's a section there where I'm without a boat. So for me, that allows me to do a couple things. One is go fishing with friends. You know, I went out with Ott Defoe one time in his jet boat and went and fished in some crazy river way up where you couldn't go. I mean, we were running in that deep of water. It was a great experience, and we absolutely caught them. I mean, it was so fun to go and fish with Ott and do that. You know, I'll go fishing with Rick Grover. He's the owner of Anglers Marine, which is a big, you know, Mercury and Ranger dealer in Southern California. He's a very good fisherman, and I'll go out with him in his boat, and I sit on the back deck. In fact, last fall, I think the biggest fish I caught all year long was with Rick, and it was a full guided trip. He handed me the rod and said, hey, throw this right there. I threw it over there and I caught an 8-pounder.
Other things, you know, going on in the fall. Once you get to, especially a little bit later in the year, you know, November, December, duck season finally starts to come in. And that's something that's completely new for me. I mean, really just in the last couple of years have I kind of fell in love with waterfowl hunting. Goose, ducks, you know, wood ducks, any of that kind of stuff, man. It can be a really great way to enjoy being outside doing something other than fishing, but still around the water, still using a boat to get to those places, and all that, of course, is done in that jet drive. Walleye fishing is another thing that I love to do out of that particular boat. We've got some places here around home that have some pretty good walleye in them, and that off season for bass is a great time of the year to be out there targeting those fish and putting some fresh meat in the freezer.
The other thing I'll do is go saltwater fishing. I live fairly close to the coast, about an hour away. The summer and fall, the tuna fishing is really good. My biggest one so far is a 260-pound bluefin. So the tuna fishing is great. They're delicious too. It's a great way to bring some fish home and eat off of that through the off season. After that, the new boat comes in, break it in, and I'm ready for the start of the season.